So welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to this talk. I'm Bertrand, and you can call me Dr. Sim. I'll be sharing with you the QF curriculum and also what to expect for the QF program. But more importantly, the first steps or the next steps to take in the upcoming week. Yeah. Okay. So first thing, what is quantitative finance about? Generally, there are two examples I would like to share. One of them would be in terms of the complex financial products. So for example, we can have a product that is based or derived from another product. For example, a stock, right? And then we want to have a product that's based on that stock price. You can see that adds a layer of complexity already. And so what the financial institutions are interested in is to use, say, a mathematical model to create a simplified or simpler model for these scenarios and to develop a price or a numerical price in a reasonable amount of time. Now, by reasonable, I mean, let's say less than a minute or better, under a second. We don't want to take, say, hours or days to come up with a price for a complex financial product, no matter how complex it might be. The second example, the second area would be in terms of risk management. So, for example, we want to come up with an idea of how much money to set aside in the case of, for example, a catastrophic event, right? Now, we don't know what the future holds, but what we can do is to make a rough prediction or a mathematical prediction so that we can have an idea of how much money to set aside in case of a catastrophic event. So you can see based on that, we require quantitative skills and also analytical skills. That's where the QF major comes in. It's designed to meet the demands of the finance industry, and notably for students who wish to work in the industry as quants or risk analysts. Now, going back to my first example in terms of pricing a complex financial product, I would say that it requires quite a few areas of study, notably mathematics, finance, statistics, and computing. So let me go to finance first. To understand what we need to do, we first need to know what the financial product is about. So this entails financial terminology. What are some of these products in the market? We need some knowledge of or basic knowledge of these financial products. Another thing we would like to do is to create a mathematical model. And that's where the mathematics will come in. We want to come up with a realistic yet not too overly complicated model. And that's where this area comes in. Why probability and statistics? We're also dealing with unknown events, right? So things that happen by chance. Again, we require good knowledge of probability and statistics, and QF major will stress on probability and statistics quite a lot. The last area, which may or may not surprise you, is in terms of computing. So over here in my first picture, I can have, say, different scenarios for the stock price in after 10 units of time. So for example, if the stock price is here now, in the future, we do not know what it holds, but we can have some different scenarios. If I translate that to a mathematical model, let's say I have 8 scenarios at the end, then I could enumerate all the different 8 scenarios and make a computation for each of these scenarios. Say, if one of these scenarios takes a minute of time to compute, then I would take, say, 8 minutes, which is actually quite long if you think about it. We don't really want just 8 scenarios, let's say 1,000 scenarios, then that would require hours or days, which is actually unreasonable in terms of time. What we could do is to translate that into the computer. So we write a program for the computer to perform each of these computations, and that will save us a amount of time. However, to do that, we would require programming skills. How can you write a program to do that? That's where this area comes in. Okay, so basically the curriculum would cover these 4 areas: mathematics, statistics, computing, program, and basic financial knowledge. The programs in QF would cover, there are three programs offered by the department: major, second major, and minor. generally these differ in the amount of depth. Yeah. So for a major, a significant amount of depth. Second major, well, sufficient depth, but not as much as the major. And for a minor, just a general idea. You have a general idea of what QF is about, but not in depth. Okay. For more information, you can go to this website. Actually, it's the math department webpage. Let me take you to that. So in the math website, this is where you have you can find most or almost all of the information that you need. The relevant pieces for you would be under undergraduates here, or courses and timetables, which would enumerate the list of courses offered by the department. Let's say we want to look at the major requirements or what a QF major is about. We can go to here, major and minor programs, and primary majors for the QF major. Now in this website, you can see a few things, the frequently asked questions, sample study plans, and program requirements. So let me go to the program requirements first. And you are matriculated in 2005, which is 2021 and 2022 onwards. So this, you come to this document here. And this would give you the list of courses to take throughout your 4 years of study. So they are sorted by course level. Level 1000 would be the simplest. That is easy for everyone, or generally an entry-level course. And level 4000, which would be higher level courses, the highest level of courses. Some of these higher level courses would require prerequisites. That is, you need to read a lower level course before you can read that course itself. So let me change over to the slides, which presents this in this way. So in level 1000, the gateway course, or the gateway course to QF, which is QF 1100. And level 2000, you can see over here, this would be the first few. This would be form the mathematical foundations. This would touch on the first aspect of QF major, that is mathematics here. Over here, MA 2116/ST2131. So this would be a cross between the mathematics and probability and statistics. This would be the probability course. Again, this is an important course for QF major. And notably, this course actually has a prerequisite, which is MA 2002 calculus. So what this means is that actually you have to read MA 2002 first before reading probability. Then we have the QF courses, 2103, computing for quantitative finance, and 2104, fundamentals of quantitative finance. Moving on to the level 3000 and 4000 courses, this is where things start to get a bit more interesting. So what I mean by that is over here, these MA courses, these are mathematical foundations, and these touch on the mathematics in isolation, right? So we don't have mathematics combined with financial knowledge. Whereas for here in the level 3000 and 4000 courses, this is where we start to integrate the different aspects of the QF major. So we have finance, mathematics, and statistics, say, in one of these courses here. Over here, let's say 4102, we have computing, mathematical models, and the finance all in one course. So that's where it starts to synergize all the different aspects of the QF major here. There's another point, which is, so of all of these courses you have to read. Over here, this would say pass 2 courses. In other words, you can choose some of these options. You can choose 2 from this list of options here. (4204) project in quantitative finance, 4205 time series, 4211, and 4212. Okay, so these are options you can choose. There's an asterisk here, which is touched on the next slide, whereby we require some practical experience rather than just say some theoretical knowledge. So here, to graduate with a major in QF, we require either a project or an internship, so UPIP stands for an internship, or an NOC internship. So what we're trying to emphasize here is a practical experience rather than just textbooks or in a classroom. Okay? Right, so we have these long lists of requirements. The question is, okay, how do I actually make sense of this? Can I break it down? Can I break it down such that we can know what courses to read in specific semesters? That's where the sample study plan would come in. So what a sample study plan does is to provide a reference for the different courses to take in the different semester. For example, in year one, semester one, which is the upcoming semester, we would have 3 courses from the CHS, Common Curriculum, the Gateway course, QF1100, and an unrestricted elective. By that, we mean any course you would like. So unrestricted, so any course possible. There's certain color coding for this. So the green, yellow, and blue, this would be for the CHS Common Curriculum. Those in dark orange, this would be the QF major requirements, and those in gray and unrestricted elective. Okay, so these 3 courses here, this would be pre-allocated to you. By that, we mean we don't have to bid for the course. It's already given before the first round of course registration. So these 3 courses will be pre-allocated. And over here, which I will mention later, if we declare a major by a certain date, or in particular by 16th of July, noontime, this would also be pre-allocated. Otherwise, you would have to bid for this course. Okay. All right, what is pair 1 and pair 2? So this would be, it would be convenient to mention this website here. So this is from the letter, and you can look at this web page here. So what it says is, here, if I can zoom in a bit, that would be helpful. Okay, so for QF major, in semester 1, you would be pre-allocated some of these courses. So those in 0 or those in the O, which says the course will be randomly pre-allocated. And X would be the gateway course, which in our case would be QF1100. So how this works is, here, you'll be randomly pre-allocated one of these 2 courses. Yeah. So let's say in semester 1, you're allocated this course, followed by this and this course. Then in the next semester, you will be pre-allocated the other part of the pair. So for example, in semester 1, you're allocated pair 1, pair 2, and pair A. Then in semester 2, you'll be allocated this, pair 2, pair 1, and pair B. Okay, so that's what this matrix is talking about here. In semester 1, you will be pre-allocated the gateway course in semester 1 and not in semester 2 for QF major. Okay. Yeah, so this is the sample study plan over here. You can use it as a reference. How the plan comes about is actually based on 3 things. First one, the program requirements. So this was the long list of courses we saw earlier. The second one is that certain courses have prerequisites. So what this means is that they have to be read in a certain order in order for one of the courses to be met. And that's where this sample study plan takes that into account. The third one we want to consider is that some of these courses are only offered in one of the semesters. So for example, either semester 1 or semester 2, whereas other courses are offered in both semesters. So this will affect the planning over here. So let me give an example to illustrate how this sample study plan came about. Right? So for example, 4102, Financial Modeling and Computation. If you go to NUS Mods, you will see that there are certain prerequisites here. So QF 4102 requires QF 3101 and QF 3103, right? And if I click on that, it will also tell me that there are other prerequisites here. So QF 3101 also requires one of these courses, and one of these courses, and one of these courses. So going back to the, if you go back to the major requirements, you realize you need to read multivariable calculus, Fundamentals of Quantitative Finance, and CS1010S, excuse me. And each of these, some of these may have prerequisites as well. So let me just look at one of these courses here. And you'll see that QF2104 also requires another set of prerequisites, QF1100. And one of these things, so actually QF1100, MA2001 linear algebra, and MA2116 probability. Further down, MA2116 also requires one of these courses, which in our case would be calculus. And calculus has no more prerequisites except you need a bridging course. So if I trace out these three, this is what I'll get. QF102 requires these two, and from these two, I requires these three prerequisites, and so on and so forth. What I'm trying to say is that if I form the tree, we realize that we have to read MA2002 calculus quite early on, right? So, and QF4102 is only offered in semester 1, not semester 2. So let's say I read it in year 4, semester 1. Then this would mean that I have to read MA2002 latest by year 2, semester 1. Okay, so that's where the sample study plan came about by tracing out these prerequisites here, right? So you can see MA2002 followed by probability, followed by QF2104, followed by 3101, and then finally QF4102. Of course, you can read calculus even earlier. You can even read it, say, in year 1, semester 1, and there's no one stopping you from that. This is another sample study plan for reference. Here, this is considered as exchange program in year 3. So you can have an exchange program either in year 3, sem 1, or year 3, sem 2. And in this case, the courses will have to be read in a different way. So calculus, in this case, will have to be read earlier on in year 1, semester 1, and so on and so forth. Okay. So there are a lot of different samples or references you can consider. I'll not go through each of these, but just bear in mind that there are different sample study plans available for different combinations of major, second major, or minor. All right, so the sample study plans can be found over here. So this will be the big list of sample study plans. What if my combination is not listed here? That's where the principles I illustrated in the earlier slide will come into play. You can use some of these as a reference and make the relevant adjustments. Just bear in mind the 3 considerations on this slide. Okay. Okay, so that will be for the 4-year plan, and that's quite far ahead. If we just want to look at 1 semester ahead, right? So what can I do for just the upcoming semester? There are some possible choices that I can offer. So one of them would be 3 common curriculum courses by the CHS. This will be pre-allocated. The gateway course, and then you can choose an MA course, right? So you can build up the mathematical foundations. Generally, I would recommend calculus first because of 2 reasons. The first one is that calculus would be a prerequisite for that whole long chain of courses. That's the first reason. Second reason is that as compared to 2001 linear algebra, students are generally more used to the topics from MA2002 calculus as compared to MA2001 linear algebra, because the linear algebra course requires a more abstract way of thinking. So students may or may not be used to it in the first semester. So I recommend MA2002. Another option you can consider would be the 3 common curriculum, followed by the gateway course and another common curriculum course. So this was the example in the first study plan I showed you. Another one would be 3 common curriculum plus the gateway plus another gateway for, let's say, a different second major. For example, statistics or data analytics or something. For those second majors, they will have their respective gateway course. Yeah, and this is useful if you're considering, say, a second major in a different program, and then you can consider taking a second gateway course in the second. Okay. Now, this part is important. So here, for the academic plan declaration, you would have received the letter on the 3rd of July telling you that there are two important dates to consider. First one, 12 noon by 16th July. So this would be next Wednesday, 12 noon. If you declare your major by this date, a QF major, you would be pre-allocated the QF, the gateway course, which is QF 1100. Yeah. If you miss this date, then what this means is that you would not be pre-allocated the gateway course, and then you have to bid for the course on your own. Yeah. So generally, I recommend you to declare a major by this date, so you are guaranteed the gateway course QF 1100 in semester 1. Okay. If you miss that date, then you should declare your major by 20th July. So that's a Sunday, by 8:59. The reason for that is that the course registration, the first round, would start on 21st July, which is 2 Mondays from now, at 9 a.m. And there's a 24-hour period whereby you have to declare your major, and then 24 hours later, followed by that, then you can access the course registration. Right? So I recommend 16th July to be pre-allocated. Otherwise, you have to declare it by 20th July. Okay. Right. So what are your first steps? First, choose a major, in this case QF, followed by, if you would like, some optional second major or minor combinations, and then declare your major by this date. After that, refer to different study plans available on the math webpage. After that, you can simulate your timetable in NUS mods, which I've showed you here. So for example, I want to take calculus. Then you can either add to semester 1 or add to planner. And then after you have that whole timetable to see if there are any possible clashes in your timetable. Okay. Also, you can refer to slide 14, which are the possible combinations of courses you can take in the first semester. Now, the letter given to you on the 3rd of July has a lot of information. I don't recommend reading it in one go, but I recommend reading it through at least one time. Maybe not in one go, but over a few days, so that you're familiar with all the different requirements that are needed. So that notably, there's the CHS common curriculum requirement, and then the major requirement and other requirements there. All right, so that would be almost the end of my talk. Last thing I would mention is if you need to talk to someone for any advice, you can refer to this website for the list of advisors. So over here, go to undergraduate advisors, undergraduates, then undergraduate advisors. This would bring up different people you can talk to for certain advice. So for example, for QF courses or MA or QF courses in level 1000, you can talk to Prof. Chin Wai. For queries on QF major, second major, and minor, you can talk to Dr. Li Wei. And if you're interested in, say, going on exchange, you can talk to Dr. Lam Xing. All right, so if you need more information, most of the information would be on the math website. I have written out some of the important links for you. QF webpage for information on QF major, sample study plans, list of advisors. Here for any updates to the curriculum. So that will be under courses and timetables. This would be relevant as you go through your years of study, where there might be changes to the prerequisites or whether the course offered in different semesters and so on. This website for the Faculty of Science webpage for the common curriculum. And over here for the data literacy requirement, that is instead of, if you do not want to read GA 1000, and instead you want to read a more advanced course to satisfy the data literacy requirement, you can go to here. Okay, so that's the end of my talk, and I wish you a pleasant study at NUS, and welcome to NUS, and I hope you enjoy the first few years, the first semester of your study. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Bertrand. I think we need to answer some questions
Sure.
from the students.
Okay.
In the Q&A
Mm-hmm.
section, I have typed some answers already. Uh, so
Okay.
wait,
Yeah, I see the open questions.
yeah.
Should I address the open questions?
Uh, yeah, open
Okay,
questions.
so I think Kathleen has a question. If I take QF as a second major, do I get to take level 4,000 courses? Okay, so do you get to take, the answer is yes, but it is not a compulsory course. So you can choose to take level QF level 4,000 courses. Let me go to the webpage to show you where to get that information. So instead of going to primary major, we go to second major, and over here, more on QF second major. So over here, you would see for level 4,000, this would be in a list of options. So you pass 3 courses from some of these following courses. So yes, you can take the QF level 4,000 courses, but they are not compulsory anymore. Okay. All right. Okay, let me see. There's another question. Does applying the knowledge in this course make day trading stock options or futures application of the knowledge? The application of the knowledge would be based on the projects or the internships that I showed on this slide here, right? So the application of that would be primarily based on the internships, but the courses here will prepare you for those internships. Okay. Where can we see if we have clash courses in the NUS mod? So you would have to add the different courses first, and then from there you can see whether the timetables clash visually, right? Okay, do we need to declare the second major also by 16th July? Well, okay, so the declaration is only done once a semester. So once you make a declaration on your major and second major, you cannot change it within the semester. The only time you can change it would be in the next semester and up to the fifth semester of study. So once you declare the primary major, you also, sorry, let me say it. Once you declare, you have to declare the primary, second major, and so on at one time. So to answer your question, if you want to declare your primary major by 16 July, you also should declare the second major by 16 July. Yeah. Um, yeah, otherwise you don't declare it after you don't declare the primary major and second major on 16 July, you can declare it by the 20th. The second part of the question is there any sample study plan for double degree with QF as my primary major? Not at the moment. No, we don't have. But if you would like to formulate your own study plan, you can based on these 3 considerations to be there. And then you can use one of the study plans for reference and make your corresponding adjustments. Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay. Do we need basic programming skills before attending the program course? No, you don't need. This will be taught to you in CS1010S. So CS1010S would teach us, assuming that you have no formal experience with programming. That said, you can, with the time you have now, you can try to get acquainted with programming, but I would say it's not a requirement. So you don't need basic programming skills. CS10NS would equip you with the basic programming skills. Oh wait, there's a question early on. Can I know after graduating from QF, what careers else can we pursue other than quant? So generally, it would be in the upfront I can think of would be the finance industry. So you can work in banks, or you can work in regulatory authorities like MAS, or you can work in financial plan. Sorry, let me say, you can work in, say, Great Eastern, where they are interested in creating models for to predict the future and things like that. So generally related to finance or modeling or prediction in that sense. Okay, this one, which combination is more competitive in terms of seeking jobs, or which one is more popular among science students? So I have two options: major in math and second major in QF, second option major in QF, and then the second major in math. If I would just go on based on these two options alone, I would say major in QF would be more competitive. Why is that? Is because QF actually integrates the many different aspects or many different relevant aspects. So you have a whole suite of skills that you can use going forward. So you have not just the mathematical theoretical knowledge, you also have the practical hands-on knowledge like programming. We also have things that are relevant in today's world, such as probability and statistics. There. So to answer the question strictly, I would say option two. However, I would also want to supplement by saying that it's not just math and QF. You might also want to consider courses in data science and analytics, because that will help you to make sense of the huge amount of data and how we can present data in a understandable manner for general audience. So you might want to also supplement the skills with data science, statistics, and computing, not just in math. Okay. Okay, which programming language will be used in QF? Many. So we will start with Python. We also use MATLAB. We also use R. So I would say many. However, I would say it's not so important which programming language is used. If I can change the question, I would say what is useful in programming. In that sense, I would say the how to write algorithms would be important. How to modularize code would also be important. How do we translate a mathematical model to a computer itself, or to pseudocode and then to code? That will be more important than the specific language itself. Yeah. Generally start with Python. After that, move on to other languages, but more importantly, develop the skills behind the language. If I'm taking ES 1103, so that's the English course. Does that mean I can only take 4 courses? This one I'm not sure. Anyway, do you have any idea on the qualifying English test results? Yeah.
The ES 103, let me see. 103. No,
yeah.
Yeah, so at least from previous students, I don't think the English course is a prerequisite for any QF courses. So your QF study should not be affected by the ES 1103.
And to add on the question, so I think he's asking like, so if I take ES 1103 is one of the courses, then that means I only have 4 other courses to take, because otherwise I would overload, and overloading is not allowed. So
okay, I see. So overloading in general is not allowed, but if you think you can carry, then you can appeal to take more courses. Of course, my personal advice is that in the very first semester, it's better to stay within the working load, because you need to get used to the university life. So give yourself some time, no hurry.
Okay, thank you, Li Wei. Another one, if I'm interested in going on an exchange in year 3, can I fill up year one, year two with QF courses and then start on and finish my second major in the overseas university? I'm trying to understand the question a bit more. So let me see. Can I fill up year one, year two with QF courses? Yes, you can, but you would not be able to fill up year one, year two with all the QF courses. So um, notably, you will not be able to do the QF 4000 level courses in time. You can only do those in year four. Yeah. So if going year three, then you can do as many QF courses, yes, in the first 2 years. But I think in the fourth year, you might still have to you will still have to finish up the QF requirement in year four as well. Okay, then there's a second part which says start on and finish my second major in the overseas university. I'm not sure I understand the question. Could you clarify the second part of the question? I don't know. I will come back to this question, I think. Oops. Anyway, yeah. Please fill it on the bottom, then I can talk about that. What are the possible contrasting degrees I can take for a double degree? Mm, wow, that's a lot to list. Um, so this is for two primary majors as compared to a primary major and a secondary major. So for a double degree, you can consider QF with computer science, but I will not say it's only limited to engineering and computer science. You can also do two contrasting majors. Yes, I will not list the possible ones, but the common one would be QF and computer science, I think.
And also QF statistics,
Mm,
also a popular combination, QF and DSA, such kind of combinations.
thank you. Is QF a niche field? Yes, it is. It is because yes, definitely it's a niche field. If you go to, not so most universities won't actually offer this at the undergraduate level. So yes, QF is very unique. It's a unique blend of all the different tools from the different fields. Okay, let me see. I am already majoring in DSE. Would a second major in QF be recommended or too much in terms of work? Well, this one's up to you. Um, I would say there's a quite a bit of overlap between DSE and QF as a second major. Um, if personally, I would say there will be too much overlap, so it's not really a nice supplement of two different areas. So if you ask me personally, I would say no. But if you're also interested in the financial side of things, not just the economic side, then you can also consider a second major in QF. Can you please suggest what would make a good second major double degree combination? I think this was mentioned slightly earlier previously. So the sample study plans would also give you some ideas of, oops, also give you some ideas of what combinations are available, and these would be some of the common combinations. I think Dr. Lee has also mentioned some of the combinations for double degree earlier.
Yeah, so let me add something. So
Mhm.
here in the combination, it seems like we only mention the combination of QF with some programs offered by math department. Of
Mm.
course, if you consider the combination of QF with, say, like computer science, or the QF together with economics, or QF together with engineering, all are possible.
Mm.
All are possible, so not limited to those kind of combinations. I do have a previous students combining QF with Japanese language, so it is up to your own interest. So what kind of programs you are interested
Mm.
in.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not sure what GES stands for. What is the GES? Um, okay, this one I'm not sure. What is the GES for?
Sure.
I think you can refer to the there's a website that gives the rough GS for the QF for the science faculty, but I don't think it's available for the QF major. So I don't have I don't actually don't have additional information to answer this specific question for the GS. Wait, do you know? I'm not very sure.
Not very sure.
Yeah.
So if the
Yeah.
student who asked this question is still here, can clarify what
Yeah.
GS stands for?
I think there's some generic information for CHS cohort, but not for QF. So the only information is available is that one. Okay. This one I don't know. Which universities do QF students usually go for overseas exchange?
So when you go for overseas exchange, you need to check whether that university offers some QF courses. So I'm not saying that's necessarily true, but usually, okay, most likely the universities are located near the financial centers in the world, say like New York or Tokyo or Hong Kong, they are more likely to offer some courses in QF. So also you can observe the job markets in those cities. So that's another opportunity for you when you do your exchange. You can check their programs before you go.
Okay. Does SEP, does a student exchange program or internships count as unrestricted elective? So I think what is trying to say is that if you go on an exchange program, and then we are required to take the courses, so if I take those courses in the overseas university, do those courses get mapped to unrestricted electives? So that really depends. That really depends. I know in the sample, where was it? There was I'm trying to find the study plan for that. So I know over here it's written as UEs. So generally there is we have to map the the courses in overseas university back to the courses in NUS. So generally these QF coded courses are very hard to map from what I understand. Some of these MA and ST courses, these are easier to map to MA and ST courses, but they're harder to map to QF courses because QF courses are much more specialized in that sense. So can those courses be mapped to specific courses, or are they mapped to unrestricted electives? So to answer the question, I would say it will be harder to map the QF courses, but it will be easier to map the MA and ST courses. Does an internship count as unrestricted elective? So internship would be a separate thing on its own. So an internship would be, you can do an internship yourself outside, or you could do the internship using the UPIP. So if you want to do the internship under UPIP, then that would fall under this requirement here. Yeah, so that would be the UPIP course. It will not be an unrestricted elective. It will be one of those courses. Okay. Okay. So a related question is this: if I want to go for exchange, can I do QF courses? Generally, if you can, it will be hard to find a suitable matching across the two universities. So generally, I would say it will be difficult. You might be able to map MA and statistics of computing courses, but QF courses would be difficult. Of course, if you can do a mapping, that would be great. Otherwise, it would be follow the rest of the category. So actually, you can also speak to the level advisors that I've shown earlier. I can't find it now, but you can talk to one of those advisors for the mapping between courses. Okay. Okay, so we still have a few more questions. What's your opinion on data science as a second major compared to computer science? This one you should ask the data science department or the computer science department. My personal opinion, which may or may not be representative, my personal opinion is data science would be more relevant because I took courses in data science. So it's a biased opinion. Um, and I would say the data science courses would be more applicable in the real world. Okay. The computer science would give you a very strong foundation in computing. And that's, again, that's my limited exposure to computer science courses. If I take a further math, so I believe this is H3. If I take further math in high school, can I skip the prerequisite? As far as I remember, QF 1100 has, okay, let's check. If I remember, QF 1100 has no prerequisites.
H2 math or equivalent.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have already got equivalent courses with H2 math, then briefly speaking, the QF100 has just this kind of prerequisite. So the MA 1301 is primarily for the students who have not any H2 math or equivalent courses before.
Hmm. So by that you mean the prerequisite is already met, right?
Yeah, it's already met if you have enough math background.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
you should, if you have enough math background, you should be able to take QF100 in your very first semester in the US.
This SCP study plan that year 3 will only be UEs. Yeah, that again, that's for reference. So so I think the question is referring to this study plan here, and the is based on this visual presentation. It looks like the semester 3 are all UEs. So this is on the safe side of things, right? So, and this is the assumption that you're unable to map any of those courses to the NUS courses here, and um, so this is on the safe side, and for reference, and still do a year 3 exchange in year 3 with all these courses being UEs. Of course, this is not the only way to do it. You can also map some of these courses in the major to here, and that will also be possible. Okay, and then I was wondering if I can start doing my second major then. Oh, okay, so you can actually start doing your second major requirements in tandem with the QF major requirements as well. So you don't have to do it, say, later on in year 3. Of course, you can, but it might be a bit too late in my view. If you want to do a QF major with a second major, I think you can start doing the requirements in tandem. So, for example, in the first year of study, you can already bid for the gateway mod for your second major as well. Yeah. So you don't have to start doing it later on. You can already start doing it right now. Okay. If I do 15 courses of DSA, it wouldn't count towards a double degree since it isn't a contrasting degree to QF. Again, this one I'm not very sure. So what counts as a double degree? So is QF and DSA double degree allowed anyway? You know?
The DSA and the QF double degree, you mean the QF um,
I think it means
as
the two primary majors.
two primary majors. Um, I think you can apply for that. At least I don't know there is any restrictions
Hmm.
um, on this aspect. Usually, students do not do this too much because DSA, both DSA and QF are offered by math department. So usually the combination is the QF primary major plus DSA second major or DSA primary major plus QF as second major, such kind of combinations. But if you want to do a double degree, I don't think there is any restriction on this. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm.
Is it true that to do QF you have to be really smart at math? Um, well, this is a loaded question. So, uh, I would say you have to be interested in math, right? You have to be interested in mathematics to appreciate and enjoy QF. Uh, do you have to be really smart? I would say no, you don't have to be really smart, but you should enjoy what you're doing. So if you, I mean, you can take a few courses to get a sense of whether you enjoy the kind of math that is in the university as compared to the high school math, right? So high school math is a different, the emphasis is different. The emphasis is, I would say, on application of the techniques. Whereas in the university, the way of teaching math is much more different. We want to cultivate the sense of being able to understand things from first principles. Um, so the method of math, the idea of math between the high school or JC and compared to the university is actually quite different. I would say take a few courses, take a few math courses, and see if you are interested in it or you enjoy it or you can understand what's going on in the class. Okay. I would not say you have to be very smart in math. I would say you should enjoy what you're doing. Okay, my course has a lot to overload with QF. Does it mean I have to clear fewer mods or does it mean my portfolio is less diverse? Okay, I'm trying to see what this question is saying. So if my course has a lot of overload, what do you mean by overload? So may I have to clear fewer mods. What does it mean by portfolio is less? Sorry, I don't understand the question. Will you rephrase it? Yeah. Okay. What's the closest sample study plan I can take reference if I were to do a second major in economics? Good question. So we can refer to the sample study plans itself. I would say those with a second major here. Although, okay, so let me just give an example with this. So over here, you can see that for second major with mathematics, not economics, there are a few courses inserted here. So I think if you want to do a second major in some other field, then you can consider inserting second major requirements across the different semesters here. Other than that, I think that would be as close as it gets. So there's also a second major in DSA. Yeah, so you have to work around the two sets of requirements and then see where you can insert the second major requirements in that sense. Okay, so the answer is no closer study plan. Make use of the make use of the different requirements and piece them together as you like. Okay, if I take the gateway course, which I assume is QF1100. Oh, sorry, let me read again. Oh, if I take the gateway course for second major, yes, but later change my second major to some other, yeah, okay. Will my previous course be counted in the overall 160 units? Yes, of course. That will still be counted as the overall requirement, yes.
Hi,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
sorry, Bertrand and everyone. I'm sorry I need to leave a little bit early
Okay.
because I have another meeting at 2 o'clock.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input, Dr. Lee.
Thank you. Thank you. You can continue. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I choose to take business as my second major? I think as long as there's no restriction on the second major, you can choose a second major, right? So some of these second majors are restricted. I'm trying to find where it says that they are restricted majors. Okay, so in the okay, it's in actually the letter, but I have it printed. I don't have it on screen. But on page 4 of the introductory letter that's sent out on the 3rd of July, you would have things about closed and restricted second majors and minors as compared to open second majors and minors. So as long as the second major is unrestricted, you can take it as a second major. That's what I'm trying to say. Which laptop? Which laptop is recommended? Any laptop, as long as you're familiar with using it, I think it's fine. It should, if you can browse the internet on it, you can write code on it, it should be okay. So I think any generic laptop is recommended. You don't need a super powerful laptop here. Even if you want to perform a huge number of computations, usually we would there's a term called SSH, which is you would remotely control a powerful computer off your computer. That is, you remotely control a server in the a computer in the server rather than on your computer itself. So any laptop would be suitable. Okay, would it be recommended to go for a second major in DSA to supplement my major in QF? Yes, yes, that would be a good option to do. Instead of doing a second degree. Okay, right. So I think the question is asking whether it's better to do a major in QF and second major in DSA rather than a double major in QF and DSA. Yeah. So it would be recommended to do a QF major and second major in DSA if you ask me, because the workload as for a second major combination as compared to a double degree. So the double degree has a much higher workload as compared to a major second major combination. However, in terms of the recognition, should I say, in terms of qualifications, should I say, most people might not be able to know that there's a huge difference between the amount of work between a double degree and a major and second major. So I would recommend the first option in the question. What can be a substitute for MA1301? So MA1301 is usually offered for students who do not have the required level of math in high school or JC. So in that sense, I should say more like MA1301 is a substitute, or MA1301 is a bridging course for students without H2, right? I don't think there's a course substitute for MA1301. So an A-level H2 math would be the closest to MA1301 in that sense. Or actually, should I say, if a student does not have A-level H2 math, then he or she should take MA1301. That's okay. Okay, I think that's it. So okay, how do I unshare? Okay, so that's all I have. And I wish you a good time, good semester of learning in NUS. And if anything, you can feel free to write into any of the advisors there. So thank you for your attention. And yeah, I wish you all the best in NUS. Thank you.